There's a ruthless, almost invisible high-stakes chess match playing out right now in the executive suites of the WNBA, and it's separating the visionary architects of dynasties from the GMs dazzled by social media hype. Welcome back to WNBA Pro, your premier destination for deep, unfiltered analysis of the business side of professional women's basketball. Today, we're diving into a seismic shift in how championship rosters are being built, and the consequences are already sending shockwaves across the league. On one coast, the recent expansion draft dropped a silent bomb that has everyone talking. Enter the Golden State Valkyries, a brand new franchise with zero baggage, a blank canvas, and a financial war chest ready to reshape the WNBA's balance of power. But it wasn't just who they selected that made headlines, it was who they deliberately ignored. The Valkyries passed on Phoenix Mercury's star Sophie Cunningham, a decision that speaks volumes about the data-driven strategies reshaping modern front offices. In a world where talent and marketability often collide, Golden State's calculated avoidance of a social media darling signals a profound shift toward efficiency, analytics, and long-term dynasty building over short-term fan excitement. Meanwhile, in the Midwest, another storyline is quietly taking shape, but it could define the league for the next decade. Rumors swirl that the Indiana Fever are seriously considering running it back with their existing roster centered around Caitlyn Clark. In a league turning into a ruthless arms race, standing still is not just conservative, it's dangerous. While loyalty and continuity have their merits, choosing patience in a season where every rival is aggressively innovating could be a catastrophic misstep. So, what are the hidden forces driving Golden State's stealth strategy? And why might Indiana's patience backfire spectacularly in a league that punishes hesitation? Over the next few minutes, we'll unpack the unspoken business logic, the analytics, and the high-stakes psychology that is quietly reshaping the WNBA landscape. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and strap in. We're about to expose the real strategies, the overlooked genius moves, and the costly mistakes that could define the next era of women's professional basketball.
A lot of people don't understand when it comes to KK that KK Timpson's stock is in the gutter. Like, it is in the gutter. Like, a lot of people are like, teams will take her based on potential. Like, KK Timpson's potential.
To truly grasp the magnitude of what just went down in the WNBA expansion draft, we need to confront a harsh reality. The gulf between perceived market value and actual on-court impact can be deadly for a franchise. For years, the league's marketing machine has elevated Sophie Cunningham into one of the most magnetic, unavoidable personalities in women's basketball. The story sold to the public was simple and persuasive. She's a fierce enforcer, a knockdown perimeter shooter, a player whose pre-game outfits go viral, and the uncompromising heartbeat of the Phoenix Mercury. She has built a personal brand that dominates headlines, captures sponsor attention, and energizes casual fans. On the court, she talks trash, exudes confidence, and positions herself as a cornerstone of a winning culture. From a surface-level perspective, she was the perfect choice for a franchise launching from scratch, someone who could bridge elite marketability with proven veteran leadership. So when the Golden State Valkyries prepared to construct a completely new roster, the world assumed Cunningham would be their first pick. Season tickets, a passionate local fan base, instant brand recognition, it all seemed to point to her selection as a no-brainer. But then the unthinkable happened. When the Valkyries were on the clock, they didn't reach for the media darling. They didn't cave to hype or social media buzz. They left one of the most recognizable names in the league sitting untouched. Make no mistake, this was not a mistake. It was a deliberate, highly calculated move. It was a masterclass in modern sports management, signaling that the organization prioritizes long-term dynasty building over short-term spectacle. They dissected the analytics, weighed actual on-court contribution against perception, and made a statement. Visibility and hype are no substitutes for a data-driven blueprint for sustainable winning. In that moment, Golden State sent a message to the entire league. In the new era of professional sports, ruthless efficiency, analytical precision, and strategic discipline will always trump charisma and social media clout, even if it means leaving a star like Sophie Cunningham on the board.
Who will give you the same energy, if they're a starter or if they're a bench player, who will play the one if needed. She can't dribble, but like there are certain matchups where she can be a secondary ball handler because she's like her IQ. She can play the one. Like she looked really good playing the one in preseason, and now I think it was the Connecticut Sun full court press.
You have to understand exactly who is running the show in Golden State. This isn't a standard expansion franchise. This team is built on the same ruthless, analytics-driven, championship-focused foundation that propelled the Golden State Warriors dynasty under Joe Liab. They are leagues ahead in evaluation strategy. For them, Instagram followers, flashy tunnel outfits, and viral highlight moments carry zero weight. Drafting is governed by advanced metrics, defensive versatility, locker room chemistry, true shooting under pressure, and long-term systemic upside. When the Valkyries evaluated Sophie Cunningham, they looked past the persona and the cameras. They dissected her performance in high-pressure playoff situations, scrutinized defensive lapses, and noted that her on-court production often fails to match the volume of hype she generates off it. In professional sports, building a brand new locker room from scratch is a delicate, psychological balancing act. You need foundational pieces who are selflessly committed to executing a system, not chasing media attention. Golden State made a decision that was bold, controversial, and utterly brilliant. They prioritized basketball substance over spectacle. Bringing a massive, potentially volatile personality into a nascent locker room could have fractured the team culture before it even took root. By passing on Cunningham, the Valkyries sent a crystal-clear message to the league. The era of massive contracts driven by personal brand and marketability is rapidly fading. Modern general managers demand complete two-way players who deliver under pressure, adapt to systems, and contribute to a winning culture every night. Golden State's move shatters the illusion surrounding Cunningham's supposed indispensability. It reinforces that this franchise and the league's next generation of elite teams is laser-focused on winning championships, not likes, clicks, or social media engagement. Every choice is calculated, every selection serves the long-term vision, and every draft pick is a statement. Titles over hype, substance over style, culture over charisma.
Other than Alyssa Smith, probably. KK Timpson, I don't even know how to describe KK on defense. But like, Sophie Cunningham she doesn't switch off. She doesn't switch off at all. She plays hard. She is disciplined, like we saw.
While Golden State is methodically building a ruthless, forward-thinking culture on the West Coast, our focus must immediately shift to the Midwest, where a franchise is flirting with danger disguised as patience. The Indiana Fever currently hold the single most transformative, economically powerful athletic asset in women's sports, Caitlyn Clark. She is a generational talent, a paradigm shifter who has redefined both the global visibility and the financial reality of the WNBA. When gifted a player of Clark's magnitude, traditional timelines for roster development no longer apply. Your championship window doesn't open in 3 or 4 years, it opens the exact moment she steps on the court. Every second, every roster move, every strategic decision is magnified exponentially. Yet troubling rumors are circulating that Indiana's front office is leaning toward running it back next season with the current roster. The reasoning appears rooted in conventional logic. The team showed marked improvement in the latter half of the year, ended their playoff drought, and their young core is organically developing chemistry. The thinking is that minimal disruption, no blockbuster trades, no massive free agent signings will allow continuity to foster growth. On paper, this is measured, patient, and rational to the old-school basketball purist. But the WNBA of 2026 is no longer a league where patience is a virtue, it is a hyper-competitive, cutthroat, rapidly evolving arms race. In this environment, extreme patience can be a silent killer. While other franchises aggressively innovate, acquire, and recalibrate around generational stars, standing still risks transforming potential into squandered opportunity. For Indiana, the stakes couldn't be higher. In today's league, waiting for chemistry to naturally blossom is not patience, it's a vulnerability, one that could cost them the chance to fully capitalize on arguably the most valuable asset in women's professional sports.
You cannot tell me that Sophie Cunningham is that much worse than Bridget Carlton. She's a better shooter than Bridget. Same height. I think Sophie's a better passer. I think Sophie moves it at the ball better. Carlton's a better defender. I think they are very close to being an equivalent as players. And
let's be completely objective and brutally honest about the current reality of the Indiana Fever roster. Yes, they made the playoffs. Yes, they boast a highlight reel offense that can dominate when the game moves at their preferred tempo. But the moment they entered the postseason, all of those advantages evaporated. When intensity soared, referees swallowed whistles, and opponents shifted to physical, bruising, playoff-style basketball, the Fever were thoroughly exposed. They lacked the personnel, grit, and toughness to push back. Caitlyn Clark endured a rookie season marked by an unprecedented, almost shocking level of physical targeting. Opponents picked her up full court, face-guarded her relentlessly, hip-checked her off screens, and employed borderline flagrant tactics designed to mentally destabilize her and disrupt her rhythm. Clark endured it with historic grace and statistical dominance, but the structural flaws of the Fever were broadcast for the world to see. They do not have a true enforcer. They lack a dog in the fight, the gritty, uncompromising veteran who sets bone-crushing screens, absorbs hard fouls, and sends a clear message: you cannot bully our superstar without immediate, punishing consequences on the other end of the floor. Every legendary guard in basketball history had elite protection. Michael Jordan had Charles Oakley and Dennis Rodman. Steph Curry has Draymond Green. Wayne Gretzky had Marty McSorley. Clark urgently needs her own version of that protective anchor. Watching her repeatedly knocked to the hardwood last season and now contemplating running it back with the same soft, unprotected roster is an unforgivable strategic gamble. This approach assumes that natural development alone will somehow repair fundamental structural weaknesses. It's a fool's errand. In a league that increasingly rewards physicality, defensive versatility, and systemic toughness, ignoring the glaring gaps in roster construction is a recipe for disappointment. Running it back without addressing these issues is not patience, it's peril. And in the case of a generational talent like Clark, peril could easily become the difference between a fleeting playoff appearance and a squandered championship window.
based on what we know, I think she would have been taken. And again, a lot of people are like, oh, but what about KK? Like, they would have taken her for potential. I still think KK's potential is just hypothetical. Like, there might be nobody that was almost higher on KK at that time last year, because I fully believed that all KK needed was rest.
The ultimate danger for the Indiana Fever front office lies in the blinding, intoxicating light of their own financial success. The Caitlyn Clark effect has transformed Gainbridge Fieldhouse into the hottest, most expensive ticket in American sports. Every game is a celebrity-filled, sold-out spectacle. Merchandise sales are shattering records on a daily basis. National television ratings are outperforming decades-old benchmarks across multiple networks. At that level of revenue and media attention, it's terrifyingly easy for executives and ownership to fall into a false sense of security. They see the massive profit margins, the packed arenas, and convince themselves that the product on the court must be equally flawless. Success off the court starts to masquerade as mastery on the court. But in reality, the rest of the WNBA is not standing still. This league is an unforgiving, hyper-competitive arms race. The New York Liberty continue to refine and perfect their super team roster. The Las Vegas Aces are returning with vengeance after a disappointing playoff exit, led by Becky Hammond, whose hatred of losing rivals her love of winning. The Minnesota Lynx are executing defensive masterclasses while upgrading talent across the board. If the Fever choose to stand pat, fold their hands, and trust internal development alone, they are actively widening the gap between themselves and the bloodthirsty championship contenders. You do not draft a generational talent like Caitlyn Clark to be a profitable, polite team that exits in the first round year after year. You draft her to build a dynasty, a terrifying, unstoppable force that dominates both on and off the court. Dynasties are never born from caution or comfort. They are created by front offices willing to make aggressive, sometimes uncomfortable, and ruthlessly strategic roster moves. Surrounding Clark with exactly what she needs to conquer the league requires vision, decisiveness, and the courage to disrupt the status quo. Anything less risks turning the most transcendent talent in women's basketball into a missed opportunity, a brilliant spark that could have lit a dynasty, but instead flickers out prematurely in the shadow of safer, easier choices. For Indiana, the choice is stark: either seize the moment and build an empire, or bask in financial glory while watching others define the next era of the WNBA.
Multiple coaches now have deemed KK not worth playing, and it's not a Stephanie White thing. I do think she still gave more impact up to a point last season than Bree Turner, but what Bree Turner did the second half of the season, or the last 10 games, was better than anything KK did. So yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you guys agree with what I'm saying? Do you guys disagree? Do you guys think Sophie Cunningham?
Right now, we are witnessing two completely opposite philosophies collide in real time in the WNBA. On the West Coast, the Golden State Valkyries are sending a clear, unignorable message to the basketball world. They will ignore the noise, reject the superficial hype, and make ruthless, data-driven decisions. Passing on Sophie Cunningham wasn't a misstep, it was a declaration. This roster isn't being built for the cameras, the social media highlight reels, or temporary popularity. It's being constructed with one goal in mind: a championship parade. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the country, the Indiana Fever face a pivotal crossroads. Are they going to be an aggressive, forward-thinking front office, seizing the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that Caitlyn Clark represents? Or will they succumb to the cozy comfort of their financial success, running it back with the same roster and hoping chemistry magically solves structural flaws? History rarely rewards caution when a generational superstar is ready to redefine an era. And this is where you, the most passionate and intelligent fans in the game, come in. I want to hear your analysis. Do you believe Golden State made a brilliant, calculated decision by bypassing Cunningham, or did they pass up a cultural cornerstone that could haunt them for years? Looking at Indiana, is running it back a smart, patient strategy for a young team, or is it an unforgivable gamble that risks another brutal season of physical punishment for Clark? Drop your deepest insights, your fiercest debates, and your ideal trade scenarios in the comments right now. While you do that, smash that like button to help this video reach the people who care about the real business of basketball. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always ahead of the curve. The off-season chess match has officially begun. The stakes have never been higher, and we'll be here breaking down every move, every decision, and every ripple effect across the league.